What's going on? It's your boy Sermon at Sermon's Domain on Twitter. Yesterday, Skeme put out a new mixtape titled Before Forever. Now, if I'm looking at the title right in terms of what it could mean, I'm guessing this is just a little mixtape, a little appetizer before we get Ingleworld 4 later this year. Um, but the way I want to talk about this project, I want to talk about it using the scope of Skeme's career so far. Basically, from Ingleworld up until now. Now, when I first listened to Ingleworld, I loved it. I love We Against the World because it was a statement. You know, this is Skeme saying, I could have signed with Top Dog, I could have signed with Interscope, but I decided to stay independent, and this is why. And he showed you like why he stayed independent. He has the freedom to do what he wants, put out stuff when he wants, but he's always doing it calculated. And like the whole project from start to finish is memorable to me. I love records like Oversick, and he had a record with Nipsey Hussle on there. And then Ingleworld 2 came. I think it was like a year and a half later. You know, he took a break. I remember he was doing an interview and he said that he took the break to write on other people's stuff. So he took that break, came back, Ingleworld 2, and it sounds nothing like Ingleworld 1. And I think it was a good thing because as a songwriter, you know, Scheme is a songwriter. If you don't know, he's written for Iggy Azalea, most notably on Fancy, her biggest hit. But Scheme is a songwriter, so him taking on a new style on Ingleworld 2 was pretty cool. It was refreshing, and it was more of an Atlanta type sound, you know. He went and worked with Atlanta producers and Atlanta artists, Young Thug, Pee Wee Longway, even an artist like Little Uzi Vert, who is not from Atlanta, but he sounds like he's from Atlanta. You know, so you got that on Ingleworld 2. And then last year we got Ingleworld 3, and it sounded kind of like a hybrid of both of the first two installments, but I don't think it was as memorable as either of them. And now it brings me to Before Forever. I'm not a fan of this mixtape at all because I feel like he's just kind of exhausting that sound that we've been getting since Ingleworld 2. And like I know Scheme is capable of doing more. I'm glad this is more of a mixtape and it's just out for free because I don't particularly like it. I've seen people on Twitter, Scheme retweeting people on Twitter saying, you know, this is a really fire mixtape, and I can understand why people like it. This is the popular sound, but as someone who has watched Scheme for many years, I just expected more. Like a record like let's see, Get Money theme song. You know, it's something that's been done before, and that's another problem with the whole mixtape. It feels like a lot of the subject matter has been tackled on the other projects that he's done. It doesn't feel like there's anything really new. And like I said with We Against the World, that was a statement. I don't feel like there's any statements on Before Forever. And then like the guest features themselves, they don't really stick. I think the only one that was really good was J305, and that's because with J305, you know what you're getting. You're gonna hear that pimp like talk. You're gonna hear him, you know, disrespect women, and I think it's always not women in general, but like more along the line of hoes. And J305 is not gonna try anything extravagant, something new, and I like that because he has a sound and he sticks to it and it sounds refreshing, it sounds good. And I think the record itself, Shameless, is one of the few that sounds like it could be a Ingleworld 1 track. But there's not much of that on the project. And going back to the features, it's like you have like Tracy T, you have Sauce Walker, who he can spit. I'll give him credit for that, but I feel like his voice and like his flow is a little annoying. And then he has his ooey ad lib, and I just can't stand it when I hear it. It's just like an annoying sound to me. Like I've always been big on voices, so if I can't get past your voice as an artist, then I'm not really gonna get into you. But I will give Sauce Walker credit because he can spit. I love the fact that he also threw in a wrestling reference. I'm a big wrestling fan, so I give him credit there. The only other guest feature I felt that was really that really stood out was Billy B, and I don't know where she came from. I don't know if she's just like somebody Scheme knew, like a homie or anything, but she definitely sounds like she could be onto something. She stood out. She had a really good verse, and at times it even felt like maybe Skeme wrote the verse for her because it sounded like some of Skeme's cadences that you can hear in the verse. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm not too big on this Skeme that we're getting now. I understand how it could be successful, and definitely it is successful. Skeme is still growing as an artist, but as a songwriter, I would love to see him explore something else on Inglewood 4. Just to give that like that surprise factor. And not saying switch it up all the way, but kind of ditch the stuff that we got on before forever and, start fresh, start new. Or even just go back to a hybrid of Inglewood 1 and 2, kind of combine like the best elements of that into one project. So that's my take on Before Forever. You can download it in the description below. And then once you hear it, let me know your thoughts on the project itself. And if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, let's talk about it. And then like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, share the video. Follow me on Twitter at @SermonsDomain. And as always, I appreciate your time. Thank you for watching. And until next time, peace.